Today on Monkey Life, Alison and Jeremy come up with a cunning plan to collect Dodger the capuchin.
Now we need the box at the end of the tunnel here.
Yeah. And then we'll get him
into there and put the forks in. Don't you worry, we'll sort it.
Vet Cesar is called in to stitch up woolly monkey Bueno Junior, who's been injured in a scuffle.
Might be a bit of muscle damage in there. I can see one muscle in there, but there's no harm done.
And sunflowers for the squirrel monkeys. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Everybody's well aware that they need to be looked after carefully. They should be okay.
The park provides a home for more than 260 primates from 24 different species. It's an early start for Alison and Jeremy as they set off on a 4-hour journey to Canterbury in Kent to meet a capuchin called Dodger and his recently widowed owner, Tracy. Dodger has lived with the family for more than 25 years. But since the death of her husband, who looked after him, Tracy has struggled with his care. Dodger's also been lacking companionship of his own kind for the last 5 years.
Yep, well then that's right.
If all goes to plan, Dodger will return to the park with Alison and Jeremy at the end of the day. In their absence, the team need to move recently arrived zoo capuchins, Matty and Louis, to the lodge to make space for Dodger in the marmoset domestic house.
Yeah, he's really grabby.
But neither is keen to go into a travel box. Eventually, Matty is coaxed in.
We'll be on our way with Matty if one of those rooms can be ready.
Yes, that's ready, thank you.
Now they just need to persuade the more cautious Louis to follow suit. In Kent, Alison and Jeremy have arrived at the home of Dodger and his owner, Tracy.
Such a beautiful place.
I know.
Tracy takes them to meet him in his outdoor enclosure.
Hey, mister.
Alison is already working out the best way to persuade Dodger out of his home and into a travel crate.
Is that a slide I see over the end of the tunnel? Does it work?
You can close it off, yeah.
And he can't open it?
Well, no, not if you hold it.
All right.
Jeremy inspects the slide while Alison takes a good look at Dodger, keen to see how he behaves in familiar surroundings.
Do you want me to open it up? Right. Okay, just close that behind you. Dodge!
Looks great.
Hello, young man. Hello, how you doing?
Dodger is curious about the new faces, but a little wary. He heads into his house. Jeremy spots an opportunity.
Do you want to just pull that door across?
The slide at the end of the tunnel is shut, and the quick addition of a screw secures it, keeping Dodger inside.
I think the way to get him into the box is to somehow or other fasten the box against the sliding door on the outside, secure him in the tunnel. We can then coax him into the box from the tunnel. Now we need the box at the end of the tunnel here.
Yeah.
And then get him into there and put the forks
Put your
in.
forks like that.
Yeah. Have you got a step ladder?
I
At
have,
some point, because the forks are going to be best going down from the top.
Step ladder.
Because there's nothing for them to...
Okay.
Yeah, but don't you worry, we'll sort it.
With Dodger secure, Alison and Jeremy can sit down with Tracy to learn as much as possible about his likes and dislikes.
So he gets quite dominant over food.
Yes, definitely.
Back at the park, Katie and the capuchin team are still trying to coax Louis out of the tunnels and into a travel crate, so they can prepare her old room for Dodger. A quick visit from Nick does the trick. She's soon reunited with Matty in their new rooms at the lodge.
Now that they've finally moved, we're going to be prepping the rooms so that when Dodger arrives, he can just go straight into his room and settle in.
Back in Canterbury, Jeremy is hoping that will be sooner rather than later. He secures Dodger's travel box to the enclosure end of the tunnel. Then he goes into the capuchin's house, hoping his presence will be enough to send Dodger into the tunnel. Success! And one more sight of Jeremy sends him straight into the box.
I already thought we'd done this before.
Time to pack up and prepare for the journey ahead.
Can we get water for that? I think there's more upset on the part of Tracy, which is understandable. She's been with Dodger for more than 25 years, so it's a tough day for her, but she knows she's doing the right thing for him to try and get him companionship. So, are you settling down, young man? Will you take a grape from me? Here you go. We're eating grapes.
Jolly good.
If you want to sit for 1 second
Yeah.
with him, Jeremy and I will collect our bits.
I am going to come visit him for sure, definitely. I'm going to be upset.
Tracy and her husband looked after Dodger well, but now it's time for his care to be transferred to the team at the park and for a new life with companionship of his own kind.
Is he chatting to you yet?
No, he's not chatting. It's just eating quite a few nuts.
Okay. I'll keep you updated.
Yeah, I'd like to know what happens when he does join
I
the group.
promise you I will.
A final goodbye, and Alison, Jeremy and Dodger are ready to hit the road.
Yeah, you look after yourself.
It's a beautiful morning at the park, and at the Stumpy enclosure, the group of 8 stump-tailed macaques are outside enjoying the summer sun. It's a peaceful scene, with everyone either foraging or grooming a companion. It's now been 2 weeks since Sylvie was examined by the vet, after the care team became concerned she was losing too much weight. Much to their relief, she seems back to her usual self.
A couple of weeks later, you wouldn't know there was anything wrong with her. Still have no idea what it was that was causing her to lose a bit of weight and look a bit off. And yeah, she's bounced straight back from that, and you wouldn't even know today that there was anything wrong with her in the first place.
At nearly 24 years old, Sylvie is the youngest in the group, and she's a lot more sprightly than her older housemates. Aided by the weight loss, she's now even more agile than before, exploring places the others just can't reach.
Everybody else tends to rely on the platforms and the big posts and things to get around. Sylvie has taken to going up quite high in the trees. Seeing her up there, she's showing some really good flexibility, definitely more so than any of the other members of the group. And yeah, you wouldn't have any idea that just a couple of weeks ago we were quite concerned there might be something wrong.
Ever since the first of the Stumpies arrived at the park, having been rescued from research laboratories, the care team have had a constant battle getting them healthy and controlling their weight. To keep them active, the team regularly throw in a scatter feed of small healthy tidbits for them to find, encouraging the group to move and forage. Sylvie is usually first to the prize.
Everybody else is quite slow moving, but because she is a little bit younger, she's much better at getting from one end of the paddock to the other very quickly. So when you're sort of throwing the food out in the outside and you're trying to spread it far and wide, we often joke that Sylvie has clones of herself, because no matter what area of the paddock you're in, Sylvie happens to be there. She's just such a good strategist when it comes to being in the right places for the feeding. And her cheek pouches they're the things of legend. They are so ridiculously big when she crams so much food into them. So because of that, she's quite tricky to get weight off of. We obviously did have her losing some weight a little bit more rapidly than we would like, which is why we were so concerned about her. But right now, she actually looks really good and really flexible. She's really fast moving. So actually, we're pretty pleased with her now.
Each of the group needs to be closely monitored for individual reasons. For some, it's their age. Others have ongoing health problems. And, in Toto's case, it's because his lack of social skills can cause issues. But today, the Stumpies appear calm and relaxed, enjoying each other's company. After a 4-hour, 200-mile journey, Alison and Jeremy have arrived back at the park with a capuchin monkey they've rescued from a home in Kent.
We're home, Dodger.
Katie from the capuchin team comes to greet them.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Everyone's keen to get Dodger settled in as soon as possible. He'll be living in a temporary bedroom, just vacated by another recently rescued pair of capuchins, Matty and Louis. Dodger doesn't waste any time abandoning his travel box.
Dodger's done really well, actually. You have to remember, he's 27 years old, so he's no spring chicken, and he's lived in only that one place his entire life. So this is just an overwhelming change. We've made the first turtle and he's here at the park, so that's really good and I'm really pleased for him. Shame that he didn't get to live with others sooner, but at least he's here now.
Dodger will have all the usual health checks, and once given the all clear, the primate care team can decide which is the best group for him to join to live out the rest of his days. There's been a bit of a disagreement between the males at the top woolly monkey enclosure. It resulted in a bit of a scuffle, with poor Bueno Junior getting on the wrong side of alpha male Levar and coming off worse. He sustained a nasty cut to his hand, and the primate care team are worried it might become infected.
Normally, we try to allow them just to heal on their own, but unfortunately in this instance, because Junior's been playing and fussing with that hand so much, he seems to have pulled some sort of flesh away from that finger. We're concerned about exposed bone, infection, so yeah, we just don't want to risk leaving it any longer, so we've decided to intervene.
Local vet Cesar Sastre has been called in to take a look, but before that, Junior needs to be anaesthetised. And it's not going to plan.
Hello, Sharon, did you call me? I was on the quad.
Yeah, we're not having much luck with Junior getting him down to hand inject or getting him into the bedroom. So I don't know if you were able to come to top woolies.
The team call in Jeremy for help. Like many of the primates at the park, Bueno Junior has been trained to present parts of his body for inspection, but today he's not playing ball.
At the moment, he's not really coming over to us, so we might have to make a sort of a plan B if we're not going to be able to hand inject him.
There's only one alternative. Jeremy will have to use a blowpipe to administer the anaesthetic. Fortunately, he's adept at using it, and once Bueno Junior has moved into a suitable position, Jeremy takes the shot. He's bang on target. The drug doesn't need long to take effect, and once the young woolly male is under, he's quickly moved into a travel crate and whisked off to the park's hospital. But by the time everything's ready to go, the anaesthetic has started to wear off. Cesar is well prepared. Junior is quickly masked, and within minutes, he's out cold.
I don't know why you're making a fuss now, sweetie. Come on, puppet, come on.
Once he's intubated, Cesar starts with an all-over inspection.
I'm gonna do a quick physical examination. And this guy's been a very healthy boy, yeah? Not a problem before. And he's eating and drinking well. He looks very healthy to me. He's pretty good.
The woolly male is in excellent condition, but the wound on his hand is not the only one. Cesar finds another on his right foot.
There's another wound here.
Junior has certainly been in the wars, but thankfully, the wound looks worse than it actually is.
That's all soft tissue, subcutaneous tissue. I don't think might be a bit of muscle damage in there. I can see one muscle in there, but there's no harm done here. The tendons are fine. After stitching up these, the functions should regain to normal. Yeah.
The injury on his left hand is very similar.
I would be able to just put it back together.
Yeah.
Okay? And this one will need to be stitched up. It's sort of similar than the other one.
Once the wounds are clean, Cesar gets to work stitching them up.
Off we go. We're going to stitch up these.
Woolly monkeys are good at picking up wounds and stitches, and their hands and feet are very mobile. So Cesar uses a more durable suture and additional stitches. They'll be absorbed after 6 months, giving plenty of time for the muscle to heal.
That's great. Okay, so that muscle is stitched up.
A layer of sutures under the skin will hold the wound together, aided by an extra layer and some glue as an added precaution.
It has come together very nicely considering how damaged it was.
The whole procedure is then repeated on Junior's hand.
Right, so that looks nicer now. So we've got external stitches, we've got a bit of glue. That hopefully will do the job. That's nice. Yeah?
As he begins to come round, Junior is put into his travel box to recover.
Oh, bless, he's gonna have a bit of a headache.
Junior will receive a course of antibiotics and be monitored closely by the primate care team. Young and fit, he should heal quickly and be back to normal in no time. The warm weather has prompted care team member Kat to come up with an unusual breakfast for Gibbons, Paul and Kitty. She's hoping the pair will enjoy the combination of a fun and cooling fruity treat.
We've had a bit of a donation with some squeaky pineapple toys. So we've just made some strings with some frozen pineapple rings and some fruit ice lollies. One of the things everybody knows about Paul is that he absolutely loves squeaky toys. Normally he has them loose and he just plays with them, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see what he makes of them being up on the ropes here. Kitty loves her food, so I'd imagine it would keep both of them quite busy, and it'd just be nice on this really hot morning to come out to some nice frozen ice lollies.
La Gibbon Kitty is first out, but the feel of the frozen pineapple slice isn't to her liking, and she heads off to find something else. Agile Gibbon Paul is not far behind.
These two are quite an unusual couple, obviously being different species from each other. They're not properly pair bonded like some of our other guys, and they tend to be a little bit more independent of each other. Kitty is the more dominant over food. She likes her food quite a lot. Paul should get his fair share if he wants it though. We've got 2 ropes up, so they are nicely distanced away from each other, that she shouldn't be able to dominate the food completely. They're not really keen on getting their hands sticky though, so it could be interesting seeing how they work out how to actually get the treats without getting their hands all cold and sticky as well. Their grip and the way that they move break eating is really important, that their hands stay nice and clean and they don't slip on branches and things like that, so I think that's part of it.
But Paul is hungry for his breakfast and, after a bit of consideration, tucks in. The sun has started to melt everything, making it easier for Kitty. She bites off a chunk from the top of a pineapple. Fruit is limited in the diets of most primates at the park due to the high sugar content, so this is a special treat. Paul has opted for food over fun this morning and is ignoring the squeaky toys for now and relishing a pineapple slice.
Kitty's a little bit more reserved in her behaviour than our Paul. She's also more talkative, as you can hear right now. She does like to try and talk over the top of us quite a lot. She's usually pretty successful because she's pretty loud. So that's just basically a territorial behaviour that you see with all gibbons when they feel that their territory is a little bit threatened. With Kitty being hand-reared, she does seem to focus very much on her primate care staff, and the longer she's known us, the more likely it is that she's going to sing whilst we're talking.
Eventually, Kitty can't resist the lollies and carefully picks out the sweet fruit, while Paul makes the most of his head start, moving on to treat number 2. At the squirrel monkey enclosure, Charlie from the primate care team has a different kind of sunny offering for the troop of 5. Bright scented sunflowers, still covered in pollen and full of seeds.
It's basically for enrichment, so they don't get them very often. It's
quite novel for them. So basically, they're very inquisitive little monkeys, so anything new in their enclosure, they will investigate. They can eat them, they're completely edible for them, they're harmless. If they want to have a munch on them, great. If they just want to destroy them, that's also fine.
The squirrel monkeys are let out. They have good eyesight and colour vision, so can't miss the big yellow flowers that have appeared in their enclosure. But they're a little wary. Youngster Lopez is first to investigate. He tests out both the flower heads and stalks, but doesn't taste. Lucille takes a more delicate approach, gently pulling at a sunflower head so she can smell it before tentatively tasting. Logan, not the most confident of the group, ignores the flowers, opting for apple slices put out by the care team for breakfast. The squirrel monkeys are an active group, constantly on the go. But elderly female Turvey has been struggling to keep up. The years are catching up with her.
We did notice a little bit of a change in her behaviour, a little bit wobblier, kind of clenching her little toes, not moving around quite as easily, looking a little bit, just a bit tatty and old. So we've kind of switched her up to a different pain medication now, and it's kind of just really turned her around. She's much sharper, much more on it, foraging around, holding her own against the other ones again. So yeah, just kind of managing that end of day care, making sure she gets the most out of life for as long as possible.
The squirrel monkey's diet consists mainly of fruit and insects. At this time of year, the enclosure is a natural haven, attracting all sorts of bugs, which the troop love to hunt.
By putting these flowers in, some of the local kind of insects will kind of land on them, and our squirrel monkeys are very good hunters, so they will pick those insects up very quickly. And the enclosure was originally planted to encourage insects to come into the enclosure so they could kind of hunt for themselves. So although we do supplement their diet, you can't beat them doing it themselves.
Logan shows off his hunting skills, making the most of the natural bounty in the densely planted enclosure. Squirrel monkeys are naturally inquisitive, and today, while insects may be more appealing, the sunflowers have definitely piqued their interest. They've used their senses of sight and smell to thoroughly investigate them, keeping them busy and interested, just as the primate care team had hoped. Next time on Monkey Life. Tears as the team say goodbye to one of the park's original chimps.
It's really sad, but it's part of the job. What just happened in there is probably one of the most important things that we can do.
And Capuchin Joanne solves a sandy problem.